What is going on, guys? Thank you for joining us. It's the 14th of the 5th, and we're here for the weekly FM show. We've been away for 2 weeks. Nice 2 week holiday from the show, but we are happy to be back. We're talking tactics, and we are playing Football Manager for yourselves tonight. As always, we are supported by www.chrisdarwin.com. So get yourself over there. Check out Johnny Cooper, Championship Manager. It's definitely worth a purchase, and it'll give you something to read. But we're going to get on to Football Manager tonight. We're going to actually load Football Manager up in the background, so you should be able to see it now. Can you, James?
Yes, I can. And just before you continue, I want to vouch for the Johnny Cooper books. I'm about 30 pages away from finishing the first one, and you feel really involved in the book and in what is really a Football Manager save on Championship Manager.
To tell the truth, James, did you want to manage Mansfield Town?
No, but it's very exciting.
Now, a funny story. Before we go into this is actually reliving the past, James. In 1999, I played a two-player game with a friend of mine. We used to go over each other's house, like play Championship Manager. And because Darlington was our local team, I managed Darlington, and strange enough, he managed Mansfield Town. So it's a link to the Johnny Cooper. And as soon as I started reading the book, it was the first thing I thought of.
It's really good. I mean, I haven't read a biography or a book at all since Henrik Larsson's autobiography about 8-9 years ago. But for the Championship Manager former player, I never really played it that much. And the Football Manager player today, you feel really deeply involved in it. And I can't wait to finish it and go on to the second book that's already sitting in my house.
Yeah, fantastic. There you go, guys. Get it checked out. But you'll see in the background, we have chosen Chelsea. I literally just picked a random team, but I picked a team who they kind of have players who you know where they play. And it's also relevant. A lot of people can associate with Chelsea as opposed to me picking a random club. Now, me and James haven't discussed anything. So it's literally, there's going to be discussion. There's going to be James disagreeing with me disagreeing with James. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up a team, set up a formation, then play a match against the under-21s. And what we'll do is, at the points where I would personally pause the game, we will pause it and do what I would normally do. If James would normally pause it at that point, he will tell me to pause it. We will check or do whatever he would normally do. And we're just going to kind of talk you through how we play the game. And it's not a tutorial. We're not telling people this is how to do it. It's just a fun way of doing a tactics discussion where we can actually play the game instead of just talking about it. Luke Boy 294 said he's watched this video 4 times. I'd probably recommend refreshing. I assume he's still on the trailer. And Jake, thank you for listening, pal. He said the party has arrived. Indeed it has, because James is here.
Oh, yeah.
So James, what I decided was I set up the base tactic of the 4-2-3-1, and I went for control and fluid because I kind of think that is how Chelsea would play.
That's exactly how it's set up so far anyway, definitely.
And then team instructions, I've gone for retain possession, shorter passing, work the ball into the box and play out, but also run at defence because Will I am, as I call him, and Hazard, they like to run at the players. Now, the first one I was unsure at, James, was look for the overlap. Now, when you've got players like Ivanovic and Azpilicueta, they do like to overlap, but would you put that on? Do you like that in Football Manager?
Yes, definitely, for sure. The way Ivanovic plays, and Azpilicueta, but especially Ivanovic, he actually gets quite a few goals from that position right back. And I think he's got about 8 or 9 at the moment, but I would definitely go with that. And there's one other thing I would change at the moment, if you want me to tell you just now.
Yeah. No,
this was a tip you actually gave me. Now, from the off, you said to use it from half time, but I suggest use it from the off at a much higher tempo, so you can sort of try and
catch them off guard.
Exactly, and go almost full tilt and try and look for that early goal.
Well, we'll do that because the idea as well of me picking Chelsea and the fact that a lot of people at the end of the day like to play as big teams, and a lot of people like to try to create what the big teams do. That's why we straight away discussing how Chelsea would play in real life. But then, as you see, straight away James is making a slight adjustment because Chelsea like to dictate the play, where James is saying go much higher. So he is now altering Chelsea's style to create his own style on top of it.
I would also probably go more expressive with the attacking players that they have.
More expressive? No problem. Let's add that on. I put prevent short goalkeeper disputes because Well, Chelsea like to do that, don't they? They like
I demand that.
Yeah.
I never play a save without that there.
Now I've got it close down more. It doesn't actually. I've noticed close down more doesn't really do much. So straight away I will click close down much more, because close down more, whenever I watch it, they don't seem to do anything different to if you just don't have anything selected.
I think you see something slightly, but the difference between close down more and close down much more is nothing to me. I don't think I would actually take one of those out next time. Next manager.
Take that off. Okay, defensive line. Would you like your defence to push up? And if you were managing Chelsea, would you drop them deep because of the pace of John Terry, etc.?
It's a tough one. It really depends on the opposition at the minute. As you can see, we've tweaked it to play much higher tempo, and maybe we want the defence pushing up to apply pressure for the other team to play in their own half. But if you're like a weaker team, like such as League 1 or League 2, I like to drop mine really deep so they can see more of the game. But at this level, I would probably push them higher up just to start with and see what's like.
Definitely. I mean, I always like to have mine drop deep as well. But like you say, if you're playing a higher tempo, you can't play the high tempo and sit on your 18-yard box.
Yeah.
Chris said Chelsea fluid, controversial. I just think the only reason I selected fluid for them is because you often see John Terry and Cahill bring the ball out a lot more than you would expect. You have Ivanovic and Azpilicueta always available for the ball. They always there's always a fluid motion between all the team, I always find. And British Rail says, sounds fun, but is it strikerless? I'm afraid it's not, because Costa's fit. Okay, so we'll click OK on that. We'll go on to the role. So if you were setting up Chelsea, for your style of play, we'll go goalkeeper first. I assume we're going to put Courtois in.
Yes, for sure.
Are we going goalkeeper or are we going sweeper keeper because you've told the defence to push higher up?
That's a tough one there, because I think the sweeper keeper role is quite risky. And I like to play safe.
I think we'll keep an eye on that in the first 20 minutes, maybe, of the game, and if the defence is pushing too high up and there's a gap, we can maybe change the sweeper keeper.
Yep, that's what the game's all about, tweaking it.
Fullback wise, are we going wing backs? Are we going fullbacks?
For me, it's got to be one of my favourite roles, especially when it got introduced last year, the complete full wing back, and it's got to be Ivanovic. He's a goal
wing back.
Yeah.
Attack or support?
It's
support
Chelsea.
Because they get back, or attack?
Oh, I think early on we have to go attack.
Attack. So again, as soon as the match kicks off, we'll obviously keep a close eye on that. And we'll do the other one first. I assume Azpilicueta, he's the same as Ivanovic style-wise, is he?
Yeah, definitely.
So we will put that complete wing back and on attack. Right, central defenders. You have John Terry and Cahill. They're both fantastic defenders. They like to get the ball down and play, but are they ball-playing defenders?
I would say Cahill more so. He likes to have the ball at his feet. I think there's not that many ball-playing defenders in world football. I remember Rio Ferdinand was really good at it.
Fantastic. It's definitely worth. I mean,
I know, to have one.
I know Chris Darwin's watching. He's probably going to turn over doing this, but I'm going to say, obviously, I always like to check on the passing stat. If a passing stat's above 12 with my defender, I will, and his composure and stuff is up, then I will make him a ball player.
Right. I would say that stat's about right. That's what he's good at. That's what he does. And even, I know he was a shambles of a defender, but Titus Bramble was really good on the ball, but it never made up for his bad defending.
No, he's no Mike Williamson.
Well.
Now, John Terry, this is an interesting one, because we'll go on to John Terry's stats. Now, you'll see here, he has, as I've said, more than 12 for passing. He's really good at heading, really good at marking. Now, when you look determination, you've got bravery and anticipation here, 18 and 20, and then heading of 18. Now, that to me tells me that we should be making John Terry a centre-back, but in the stopper role, which means he's pushing ahead. So he's going to kind of push forward and win that header as they try to play the ball over the top, for example.
Well, saying that, I like to have a defender covering. And the reason for that, if you've got Gary Cahill on the ball and pushing forward and looking to play, you kind of want a defender to cover the space he leaves.
So you'll see there, obviously, the first discussion was about Cahill. The decision to make him a ball-playing defender, which means he's going to collect the ball. He's going to move into the gap. So if we put John Terry as a stopper, you're going to find John Terry and Cahill are going to run into each other maybe. So making him a cover, as James has said, means they're going to end up forming almost a kind of diamond shape, James.
Yeah, I mean, this back four that we've got now and the roles that we have them, for a big team, this is my ideal way. As I said before, lower down the leagues, it's very hard to do it like this. But the team we are doing this test on just now, that's my favourite way of going.
It's definitely about deciding what your team can do. Maybe what we can do is next week, if this is a big hit, we can pick a team with a non-league side to show the difference of how we would set it up.
Definitely. I mean, it would be very interesting because there's a rule further on up the pitch that I've been not testing, but just having a look. Now, down the lower leagues, it just does not work. But a more, I don't know, better player in the higher leagues, it really does emphasise how important that role is, which we can discuss another time. And also, I think it would be good to do this as, say, a team like Chelsea or Barcelona, but play against a big rival team and see what you're coming up against as well.
Yeah, exactly. Right, what we'll do, ball winning midfielder, it's going to be Matic. I selected the ball winning midfielder role in defensive duty because that is literally all he does. He just makes sure he mops up, he makes sure he does the job. So I think that's the best role for him.
And it's another reason why we can be so offensive in this formation.
Yeah, because we've got a guy who's going to drop and sit. Next to that, I've gone with the deep line playmaker. And I was thinking in my head the Cesc Fabregas position. I don't know if you agree with me there.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
I don't think. Well, once we've picked the 11, we'll talk about personal, individual instructions that we would set. Okay, the winger on the right. I went with a support role. I wasn't really sure. I was thinking Will.i.am just because.
I think we have to go him. Yeah.
Yeah. Attacking midfield in the centre. Would you say Oscar?
I think it has to be.
And then I put Hazard on the left wing. Now, I actually selected him as an advanced playmaker, but this is the position I was unsure what role to select, whether we were going with a winger, an inside forward, a wide target man. But the only issue is if people select wide target man, you will find it quite often overrides a lot of your instructions, and they will just kick the ball long to him every time.
Which foot, can you see which foot Hazard actually plays with? I can't remember which foot he is.
Hazard is either-footed.
Oh, well, it doesn't really tell you what his predominant foot is, but like some people pick their roles and not actually look and see what they mean. So if you're ever going to use an inside forward, you have to play them on the opposite flank.
To the foot, yeah.
Yeah, almost like a Thierry Henry who always used to cut in from the left and bend the ball into the right for Arsenal or any team that he played for. And that is why you have to play on the opposite flank. And if he's right-footed, you have to play him as the inside forward for me.
I mean, when I look at this, straight away, inside forward, I would actually say no to the inside forward because he has 13 for finishing, 13 for long shots. They're actually, and 13 for decisions. They're actually the weakest of all of his attacking stats. Where if you go into the playmaker, for example, he has 20 for dribbling, 18 for first touch, 15 for passing, 18 for technique. So he is set up to be a playmaker on that wing, I would say.
That's a pretty reasonable case there. I honestly, I don't often use advanced playmakers.
I've never used it on the wing.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think I've ever used it on the wing. It's always in the middle.
But to be fair, I've never had Hazard, so...
Oh, yeah.
Striker is Diego Costa. I selected complete forward. That was just kind of to select something. I mean, what would you put him as? Again, we'll bring up his stats. The stats are the base, but a lot of people, Chris Down, who's listening, is one of them. Stats aren't everything. And there's definitely a lot of stuff, and there's posts due out. You'll see Andre's logged on. Stats aren't everything. At the end of the day, people's records speak. So how should we set him up? I don't want to, again, defensive forward, it says there, but
No way.
no. I mean, his composure's not very high, which tells me that he's not a complete forward, because complete forward is going to be somebody who's taking his time and setting himself. He looks more like a poacher to me. Let's check this, just because of his composure being quite low. So he's first touch 16, finishing 17. Off the ball 17. I think I'd have thought his composure was a bit higher, James, because I find if your striker has a lot of time on the ball, his composure is so vital, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, got to remember, these attributes or stats, whatever you call them, these are pretty much from January. I mean, it's a lot of people almost expect too much. For example, Falcao was known as one of the best strikers in the world last year, and now because he's had a bad season at Man United, when you load up the game, his attributes or whatever are from when the season began or the January update. So a lot of people don't take that into account and what they should be now.
I'm just looking. Sorry, I'm just looking down the side. Chris said there, what do you want Hazard to achieve? That's the point there, Chris. That's why I was thinking the advanced playmaker, because I want him to achieve the best he can. And at the end of the day, if he's designed really to kind of just to control the game, not to shoot constantly, not to cross the ball, more to just get on the ball, then pick that special pass. That's why I think the playmaker role is definitely ideal for him.
I think Chris's previous comment there about the F9s and the Trackertista roles working that far down in the league for him, I think that could be a case for another show maybe, because I just can't see it. I've tried it a few times. It's currently doing okay in League One, where I am just now, but down in the Evil Stick Premier or below, I just could not get the fancy roles like that to work, especially the attacking ones.
I think if you can get them players who perform them well, they can definitely work. But like I said, I definitely think this is something we will do next week with the low league side and talk our way through, because there's a lot of things we're going to be doing which we definitely won't do low down, and people might try it low down thinking it's going to work, for example. But then we'll go on the individual instructions. So straight away, because this is actually a tactic I have running for a different team, it's already set distribute to fullbacks. Now, I would always have that. Distributed fullbacks or wing backs in this case, fewer risky passes and passes shorter. Because at the end of the day, you want your keeper just to distribute the ball, but not to give it away. Because how many times do you see people say, oh, my team's losing? Then when they show you the passing percentages, the keeper has maybe 20%. And you find you're basically gifting the opposition the ball so many times.
That's exactly the way I set up my goalkeeper every time. But the way this formation was set up to play a higher tempo from the start, I think initially Courtois should have it as distribute quickly.
Okay.
As well as to the fullback, if that's possible. You see down the bottom on the left, distribute quickly.
Ah, yeah, okay. Get it out quickly. Then fullback-wise, now dribble less is obviously off because he's a fullback. He's a wing-back instead of a fullback, but pass it shorter and run wide with the ball, which means they are holding the width and they're gonna pass the ball short, which means some nice quick passing instead of just booting it long, basically. The same on the other wing. How would you set up the centre backs? John Terry's currently told to pass it shorter. Would you leave that or?
Yeah, definitely. I don't like my central defenders to play too much risk.
Now, obviously, because Cahill is told to pass it short, he's told to play with the ball. Would you want him to dribble more? Would you just want pass it shorter?
I think I might take pass it shorter off for Cahill, because we use the ball playing defender and he's got, is it 13 for passing? So I would quite like him to use that. Okay.
Matic, it'll be set up again to pass it shorter. You can tell my style if I want every player just to pass it nice and short. And
Mark tighter also.
Mark tighter. And shoot less often. He's not going to really get in that position.
No.
Fabregas should be, again, he's actually got nothing. So if Fabregas, a deep lying playmaker, would you say dribble less to make sure he's just a playmaker, or would you dribble more?
I don't think I would touch that at all. I don't want him to be anything specific.
Okay. And then we'll move on to Hazard. So do you want him to stay? This is the key thing with Hazard as an advanced playmaker, the movement. You need to think, what do we want Hazard to do? Do we want him to move in with the ball? Do we want him to just hold the touchline?
Oh, it's a tough one. I definitely want him to roam from position anyway.
Yeah, I was just thinking roam from position and just kind of play with the ball.
Yeah, I think his position is on the left to start with, but basically wherever he wants to play, you let Hazard play.
I'd be tempted if this. I would be tempted to select close down less to kind of give him a bit more freedom.
Let other players do that.
Yeah, so he's kind of like the special player on the team. We'll select Hans just for now.
I think I think if we can go back to Fabregas just for a second.
Yeah.
I think with his passing, I would almost like it to be more direct.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because he's obviously a special passer of the ball, and being more direct, he could almost unlock the other team with one or two special passes.
Yeah. And then we'll go on to Diego Costa. Now, first off, close down much more because I want him to constantly get across that back line. I don't want him to ever give them any space whatsoever.
Definitely. You want a hard worker there, closing down all the time. Kind of in that old Kenny Miller role. A poor player, but he was a dog worker.
I think that's about it on him because the rest of the options aren't available. I would have liked to have said hold position, but it's unavailable with this role. Just so he kind of stays in that 18-yard box lines, but anything in there, he closes down constantly.
Yeah.
But I think that's it.
Did we do Oscars?
No, we didn't know. Sorry. Go on that. Oh, what I am. So there we go. For Oscar, what would you...
See, it's another one roam from position, but also I think when the guy is centre, if you move them to the channels, they always pull out, and that creates a space for other players to move into. So I have been looking at that recently quite a lot.
Okay, well,
I'm not saying it definitely works, but it's one that is there to work.
We'll put it on. It's definitely worth putting on. Like say, people just get to see how this is basically how we've loaded up a save, we've picked a team, and now we're trying to create how that team plays within Football Manager, but as well as adding a few little things we want to see the players do. Chris, you can definitely come on for the low league one. It'll be definitely a good debate to be able to have a discussion with you and with James because you have conflicting views on the way.
Yeah, I mean, I am by no means an expert on the lower leagues, and I've seen Chris's choice of saves. They're very interesting and unique, so he's obviously got something good going on, and it'd be good to see what he's got going on and his opinions.
Well, definitely, as well as if there's two people who have different opinions on how it should work, it often makes it a lot better as well because the people listening get to hear both sides of the story.
Definitely, that's how you get the best out of a show. I mean, look, us coming on here now, we've not even discussed this, but we've managed to go into detail about it. And as I say, next time I'm on, we could almost do a Barca v Real Madrid or down the lower leagues in the evil stick leagues or whatever, and see if it can work elsewhere.
But I just think people say, "Oh, I want to be Chelsea," for example, or they want to be Man United, and they'll often come on and just go right, bang, 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 bang. There's the players in, let's go. And it's not working. Now they get to say, we've looked and went right. How do we want Cahill to play? How do we want Hazard to play? How do we want Costa to play? But now you're going to see, we might end up going in 10 minutes in and making a couple of changes.
Which is also why I'd like us to see, like, I don't know, take Chelsea again or take Arsenal or something, but play against a Man City or something, and let's see how effective it is against teams that is not a certainty to win.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is more just to see how the players move. So, I mean, for myself, I would always apply advice to the team to start with from the assistant.
I was thinking exactly what Jake just said on the right there.
What did he say?
We should be embarrassed if we get beat by the under-21s here.
if we get beat, Jake, unfortunately, this video won't appear on YouTube. One thing I was just going to quickly bring up was the lineups. So you can see there, they've actually altered the formation as we've had the team talk. they've altered their formation to try to counter. Straight away, I would look at that, and I'm almost considering telling either Gary Cahill or Matic to mark Borger.
I think I would go Matic.
Would you do that to start with?
Yes, definitely. I would go Matic straight away because that's his role. He's in the centre of the park, and that's where he's going to spend his time.
So we would just
cut him out the game.
Yeah, basically, you've looked at the formation of the opposition, and you're just going to basically try to cut one of the people out so he can't influence the play. Basically,
see, these are the type of things that people, not people don't do. The avid FMR gamer does this, but a lot of people who like to complain about the game don't go into depth with it.
They need to obviously check as well. I mean, that was there. The formation that they told me, then as soon as the team talks happened, they changed the formation. So it's always best to check that.
A lot of people wouldn't even notice that.
So let's get into this game and just keep an eye on how things are moving. Might need to turn it down, might need to speed it up. So I'm looking there, you can see that's Matic here, isn't it? Can you see my mouse, by the way?
Yeah, I can see it.
I just wondered there, is my mouse even visible as I'm circling some random person?
Yeah, I can see it.
So that's Cahill, that's Tui, so that's Matic there who's marking him.
And you can already see how close he is to him, literally 13 seconds into the game.
Let's just keep an eye on... Oh, it's actually Fabregas. Well, that's balls up that bloody thing, isn't it? So Costa's dropping deep straight away. Hazard, the most fouled man in the world, has been fouled already. I'm just going to shrink the stats for a second. And what I would say there is straight away, we are playing 2 centre mids, James, and we've got 3 attacking midfielders. Yet Costa dropped very deep straight away. So I'd already be wondering if I should move him to a portrait if he keeps dropping deep.
I think it's a bit early for that just now, but that is something I would really consider doing at some point in the game. I think 4 minutes in, if you're panicking as a manager, I think you're worrying a bit too much.
But what I will say is we didn't set up set pieces for this because set pieces is something I will normally attack second or third game of the pre-season once the regular players sorted. But on the website there's a set piece guide, and it's literally 99% of my set pieces are exactly the same as on that guide. So, Oscar's just tried something magical.
That's something I've been really focusing on recently, is the set pieces, trying to exploit them as much as possible, because a lot of people also forget about them.
Now, what I will say is I've just finished my second season on one of my online series, and I actually scored 7 indirect free kicks, and I topped the league for that this season. So they're definitely working if you follow that guide. Right, 15 minutes in, I would check the average positions of the team and stuff. So just a couple of minutes from doing that, I think we've just took the lead, unless it's offside. It is offside.
Costa offside.
At what point would you be checking to make sure stuff's working?
Almost the quarterly of the game, so not far away really. But most of the ball has been the first team, of course.
You can see Ivanovic getting up there supporting, which is good to see. It's not the set pieces we're not going to really focus on because obviously we haven't selected that for this little tactic talk.
Yeah, I mean, for set pieces, I'm prone to having my 2 fullbacks stay back, and just so my centre backs can push forward and they can go in the box, but I've got that cover at the back, so I'll make sure free kicks and corners, they stay back all the time, because fullbacks are not the most effective for corners.
Chris is just saying there, short corners. Believe it or not, Chris, in my Zero to Hero, that is actually what I'm playing. That's the only alteration to the set piece guide, and it's working really well. I'm not scoring a lot from corners, so on my record it's very low, but goals do come within a couple of seconds or minutes. You'll have paused it here because you can see Ivanovic here, basically kind of holding the line. You've got the 2 centre backs, but then you can see Matic. obviously Matic is there, just marking the guy we've asked him to mark.
He's almost a third central defender.
Yeah, and then you've got, this will be Oscar, is it? Yeah, but you've got Oscar come back marking this guy in the middle, and then you've got Azpilicueta following the man inside. Where's is that there? Fabregas is obviously just coming from a wing position. But let's run this on. So Matic is literally, I mean, the guy's still getting on the ball, but he's not able to do much because Matic is playing him out of it. We're coming up to the 15-minute mark where I'd be pausing it and checking, so do that in a second.
Yeah, after this play.
Yeah. Make sure we score, yeah. No. Right. So I will go on to my analysis. This is literally the holy grail for myself. Straight onto the passes. So you'll see there, Courtois, 100%. John Terry, 66%. That's an issue. But then when you see it's 9 passes with 6 completed, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then you've got 70. Everything is decent. Hazard there, 8 complete out of 12. I mean, we're not going to start worrying when it's that.
Can we show heat map?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to go on. All players.
I would like to see Hazard in particular.
Hazard is actually holding a very wide line there. I mean, as you'll see, he's kind of holding the position, which is nice to see, even though we've gave him freedom. So
I would like to see him a bit further forward than that, especially against the caliber that we're playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early on. So what I would say is this central 2 here. I mean,
I'd like to see where Matic is also. I'm
almost Matic is here. He's literally sitting in front of Cahill. They must be having a chat about something.
That's the job he's got.
I'm almost considering, this is the only thing which I've noticed from this, is Cesc Fabregas. I would consider dropping him to defensive deep line playmaker just to stop him sitting too close to Oscar, because it's going to end up that Oscar can't get on the ball because Fabregas is dragging the opposition into that area. But we'll check it after 30 minutes, and if it's still the same in 30 minutes, James, I can recommend that change.
Yeah, I think you ought to apply for a few League 1, League 2 jobs at the moment.
Yeah, well, we haven't even scored yet. I think I best just quit. If we give a penalty away before Jake starts, it doesn't count. So Costa's got the ball. He
came quite deep there again.
Did you see that Ivanovic straight overlapping, which is nice to see? Just will just kind of get the ball to him.
I hope we don't get to see Costa drop too deep like that.
Yeah,
anymore.
I think it will go to maybe a Porcher if he keeps dropping that deep. Oscar made a great run there. Penalty, come on, ref. See, if you notice, so we're now 16 minutes in. We've just gone 1-0 up. But we haven't once, you'll see this actually.
Yeah, pause it there.
Yeah. So Fabregas with the assist, which is fantastic. The man we've asked to play as playmaker. And with James's direct passing, he's not even looked anywhere else. He's just played that ball straight through. But look at the line. You've got Azpilicueta, you've got Hazard, you've got Oscar, you've got Will.i.am, and you've got Ivanovic.
And you'll see how far up Azpilicueta and Ivanovic are there. And also, can we highlight Matic again?
Yep.
And exactly what he is. You see that little diamond there of the 2 centre backs and Matic. They're 3-on-2 effectively against their players, and as you can see, Matic is very close to the man he's been told to mark.
I mean, that guy's just not getting a touch. I mean, what we'll do is, I wouldn't be surprised if at halftime they change the formation to try to get a bit more possession and kind of take that guy away from Matic. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. Azpilicueta with a long throw there. But you'll see with the complete wing backs, them guys are getting far forward. I mean, we literally had a line on the edge of the box.
When them roles got introduced to Football Manager, they were just incredible. They were so fun to use. And it's almost like that Leighton Baines type player. He's basically more forward than he is back, and he's putting in so many crosses. I just love that role. It's fantastic.
So yeah, can I just say here, you'll see this is Cahill there, Ivanovic and Turi. Cahill was actually in the defensive midfielder position. He's dropped all the way back to pick the ball up. So as a ball playing defender, he's constantly pushing forward, which is good to see. This also gives a couple of people a chance to see how certain roles are working, because some people might not use, or they might not try to set up like Chelsea set up. I mean, you can try this formation with different teams. If you have the quality, it's going to work. Ivanovic there. I mean, you just need to tweak it. I mean, it's going to be another goal here. Oh, keeper saved it. Costa's finding the space, which is nice. Oscar, say Chris today, Oscar and Costa are too far apart, which is quite strange because they're freaking nowhere near each other.
Chris on the side has recommended Hazard go IF, and that's the inside forward, and of course the role I said we should go, but there's still obviously more of the game to go, which I think that'll get him more involved.
So you go, Will.i.am there's come narrow, but him coming narrow gave Ivanovic the space if he was needed. But again, Fabregas was getting that final ball in. Oscar and Costa are sticking close together.
And as you can see, I'm assuming that's Matic again doing his job, and
it is the stalker.
The complete wing backs are so far forward, the other team don't know what to do.
I mean, that was a terrible goal, but a goal's a goal. Costa should have put it away, so we're going to blame him for that. But I definitely agree with Chris. But the issue there, Chris, is that Costa and Oscar seem too far apart. But Costa kept coming so deep, which is the strangest thing to see.
Sometimes it's almost like he's in that deep line forward or that Chakatista role when he's not supposed to be. So I think that is something we should look to change near half-time.
Yeah. I'll just let this play out, and I just want to make sure Fabregas has kind of settled down. Otherwise, we are going to change his role. See, that's what we like to see, Chris. There, when Oscar collected that, Costa was directly behind him.
You see Hazard coming in to the middle there from his wide position to take the ball and shoot.
Okay,
that's the Roman position that's coming into play there.
Now it's settled down. I think Chris is going to be a bit more happy there with the Costa and Oscar.
That's a very solid base right there. It's almost ideal. Exactly where you want your complete wing backs, your centre backs, and of course your defensive midfielder Matic. And I'm pretty happy with that at the moment.
I'll tell you what I'm the most happy with is Hazard, because this is the first time as a winger I have considered playing attacking advanced playmaker, yet he is holding the width so nicely. So you're keeping the shape, yet he's still getting creative on the ball. Because at halftime we'll go on the actual stats screen and see exactly how effective he has been, and see if he's been less effective than we'd hoped, and then we can obviously look to change it for the second half. And I do assume this show might go over since there's only 5 minutes left. So just to warn people.
It'll definitely go over, but I'm really enjoying doing this show.
Yeah, it's good just to kind of say, look, this is how we set up. So you can kind of take the same type of planning of just kind of going in with the idea of what you want. Because in the lower league, no doubt next week we'll do the lower league idea, and we'll no doubt go into that with more, not going in with the idea of, we want to play like Chelsea. We'll go in with the idea of we want to make a solid base. So
I also think it's very important that we have to try this while playing against an opposition that is quite similar.
Yeah, I agree with that. I literally just wanted to set up against the under-21s just so we could kind of just test this idea for a show out type thing.
Yeah, and it really, playing against opposition of this caliber, really, expresses and shows the roles really properly, because they should really dominate a game like this.
You get to kind of see where they would position themselves if they're playing well, so you have a base to base it on. For when you play a bad team, you can say, okay, this is what they did different. Right, so we're nearly coming up to half-time. So I would say there, naturally, they only set up with one person on the post. So that is definitely something when you're changing the set pieces. If you want to just change it bit by bit, you straight away you need someone else on the post. See, Costa's coming deep. He lays it off to Oscar. It's out to Will.i.am.
You look how close Ivanovic is to him to receive the ball.
Oh, good ball in as well.
Him and Azpilicueta are like that almost all the time when they're attacking, right behind the wingers and trying to get the ball.
Right, so straight away, overview. Sorry, hang on. So the opposition, they're still playing this tactic at the minute. But I always go on to the opposition straight away. Ask my assistant if he wants to change anything. Because normally you will find he will straight away say, right, I want to fix this. And you can also check and quickly just make sure this guy's specifically set up. And you can do position. So if they do change person, you can quickly change that. But under the overview, because there's a couple of different things we want to kind of test, because that's the main thing about this is to test stuff basically. So Fabregas, can we just drop him to the defensive duty because I want to see what difference he'll make in the actual shape.
I mean, Hazard hasn't had the best of first half, so I would really like to change him to the inside forward.
Yep, support or attack?
Oh, attack, definitely. I want to see if he's actually going to cut in and try and bend it or try and just get shots away.
Okay, I just want to check the Chelsea stats because I want to have a look at Hazard. So he had 26 passes, 17 completed, 1 key, so two crosses, 1 completed.
So you look at Cesc Fabregas there, he's got 4 key passes and they pretty much led to both goals.
So bear in mind, Hazard was playing the advanced playmaker role and he had 1 key pass. And then Fabregas in the deep line playmaker had 4 key passes. Now we're going to drop him to defensive role. Now we're going to see if that affects the shape, but we're also going to see what effect it has on his role in developing the team because he's still in deep line playmaker, but he's now getting told to be a bit more defensive. So I want to see if...
Yeah, he's going to really release the ball a lot earlier for the other players to do things with it.
Yeah. You will see also Ivanovic 6 tackles, 5-1, Cahill 5 and 5, John Toohey 2 and 2. So what you actually find there is Cahill is making more tackles.
Can we go to the heat map again just to see what it was at halftime?
Yeah.
I want to see.
There you go.
It's not too far from what we looked at last time, and apart from Fabregas, who you personally want a little bit deeper.
I want him literally almost next to Matic, maybe just slightly in front.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see how it goes for the first 15 minutes of this second half.
So as the inside forward with Hazard cutting in, he should almost be pulling in from wide a lot more often, so it might end up closer to Costa.
Straight away. Look, straight away.
That's exactly what he lost the ball, but that's exactly what he's there to do.
But that's the issue I find with the inside forward is they will run inside so much, and they again, I think in the first half he would have passed both them times. So we need to keep a check on how injury. I'll just pause if this injury. Just why I explain that. I've got a feeling now we're going to see Hazard give the ball away a lot in this half. What change would you make here with the players who go? Would you bring on Ramirez?
I think I would put Willian in the middle where Oscar is and bring on Cuadrado.
Okay. Let's make that change. So it's going to be interesting. Go on.
In real life, I believe a few Chelsea fans have been asking for Willian to play behind the striker to see what like.
Fantastic player. I mean, when he first come over from Ukraine, he was a bit off the pace, but now once he's settled, he's a great player.
I remember when Newcastle played against Anzi in the Europa League, and Stephen Taylor had him in his back pocket.
Sorry, from Russia, he came.
Yeah, and I just thought, is he really going to cost that much? But he's proved a lot of people wrong. Just shows don't judge too quick. He is fantastic.
Yeah. At Fabregas with it here. Yeah, but I am definitely curious this half to see the difference Hazard makes, because I've got a feeling he's going to give the ball away a lot. He won't pass it as much.
We've got to give it time, though. It's only 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. See, we got beaten in the air there, which was a bit...
I would be interested to see what the possession stat is around maybe the 60, 70 minute mark and see how much of the ball the 21s have actually had.
Yeah. Oh, Ivanovic just got nutmegged. See, they're getting a bit of the ball here. As I Brown offside, but they had a bit of possession. See, that's strange when he's told to release the ball to the fullbacks and he just kicks it straight upfield. And that's
Yeah,
a prime example of why I hate it.
Yeah, that is a problem. But if you don't do that, he will do it more often than not. I think that was an occasional. I don't seem to see it that often. Maybe once a week, 2, 3 games, I see it when you've got to distribute to the fullbacks.
Yeah.
I don't like it because there's a lot of times you get countered and concede a goal from it, and it's one of those punch the laptop moments.
It is true. You concede so many on the counter from a poor goalkeeper kick. Chris said he'd still like to see the attack midfielder playing higher. Is it jumping, by the way?
It was better in the first half, but it's still okay.
It's a bit strange. It's always confusing why it jumps you when the record, etc. doesn't. I assume it's just with us streaming live and everything, so I do apologise, guys.
That's why I was a bit worried recording this if I was going to see what you're seeing or behind. But the way we're talking, it seems like we're both seeing at the same time.
That was a bit strange. No one seemed to close Brown down there.
We've not really seen Diego Costa in the opening 10 minutes.
No, he's been a bit quiet. I'm not a big fan of the complete forward role because he seems to drop deep a lot. He seems to.
I don't really use it too often, to be honest.
I normally use it if I've got a player who's had a really good season the season before. So I feel like he's going to control and score 20 or 30. If he's going to be a top striker, I'll normally select to be a complete forward. But they don't normally drop so deep. So it's a bit confusing why he seems to think he needs to go chasing that ball. So we're nearly up to the hour mark where you want to check the match stats.
Yeah, I think we have to have a look and see where we are.
So we've got the stats there. Or do you want me to go on the other screen?
Yeah, I would also like to see the heat map again just to make sure they're still the same way. But that is pretty much expected as in the shots and shots on target. They haven't had a shot on target yet, so they're being shot out quite well.
See, 74% passing completion is actually terrible. That's quite poor. And that is definitely something as pre-season goes on, you'd want to definitely fix because I always think it has to be above 80 at least. And there's the heat map. And you can see Seska's started to drop back as well, which is roughly where I'd like it.
Much more where you would like it, yeah.
I know Chris said he'd like to see the attacking midfield for the forward, but I actually think that's ideal. It's near enough in line with the wingers, and he's not too close.
I think we should do what Jake has suggested on the side, and maybe take Costa off, bring Drogba on, and give him a few instructions. I don't know, maybe as the target man, I guess, the big guy that he is.
Just see if that affects the passing as well, because that'll be a nice way of saying to people, look, if you change to this role, you'll find the passing. And
I also think we should go to the team instructions once we've done that substitution.
Do you want target man, attack or support? I assume, do we want him to hold the ball up? That's maybe a support role.
Yeah, we'll go for support then, yeah.
And we'll just make sure we select some instructions to kind of get him to just be the big man who controls the ball, then leaves it. So maybe take off, close down much more, and just hold position maybe.
Yeah, hold position.
And I think that's about it. And you want team instructions, yeah?
Yes, please. I think we should go to, what is it? I'm trying to see float crosses. Yeah, that means the ball goes higher in the air, and for a target man to go onto that's much easier.
I'm going to work the ball into the box out more because we wanted to obviously float the ball in instead of passing it in. So work the ball into the box. So taking that off will actually make us use Drogba that bit more for what we've asked for him.
So we're going completely different away from a Diego Costa type player. So this is totally different at the moment.
Substitution will no doubt happen now. Yep. Where is he? There he is. Nope. Oh, there he is. He's coming on now. Doesn't look exactly like Drogba.
He's taking his time there.
Yeah. Here we go. Is he dawdling on us? Will I am on the edge of the box. I thought Drogba was on the edge of the box. Drogba's actually in the position you'd want him, kind of penalty spot. Cuadrado there to Matic.
He's in no man's land up there.
He's lost. That's why I just gave it back. Oh,
the only way to pass is back.
Better get Mikel on. He's good at that. See, Aspilicueta again looking for John Terry with the long throw, which I've noticed is actually a really good ploy. So we've got Hazard with the corner now. Drogba's actually won it. Unfortunately, went wide. Yeah. So Hazard to Will.i.am. Drogba. So Drogba's just laned off to Cuadrado. Will.i.am.
Again, you see how narrow Hazard comes from there. I think, you know what, with 25 minutes on the clock remaining, let's try and tweak it and we'll see what Chris says. We'll go with the AP role again and maybe change a couple of instructions on Hazard.
Okay. Load this up now.
It just shows with Chris giving some instructions on the side and Jake as well, a few suggestions. Everyone thinks differently. That's what it is. There is right ways to do it and there is wrong ways, but if it's working your way, then your way's right.
Well, I mean, there's no right and wrong ways. It's just sometimes the wrong ways won't work, and that's why you assume they're wrong. But every single manager in the world of football plays different. So, okay. So, what plan are we going with the AP then? Are we gonna?
Well, he says he'd like to see Hazard narrower and higher up the pitch.
Okay, so sit narrow, get further
forward. Yeah. So.
And leave the rest. Yep.
And cross aim for target man, maybe?
Ah, good idea.
Get it into the big man.
There we go. Let's see how this works, because again, his crossing stat is not the best, and if people do go off stats, it might put them off coming up with that idea. See, I'd like to see them closing Brown down. I mean, look, they're just standing off. Fabregas ends up stepping in.
I think the key thing, though, is they're not really getting many shots. They haven't had one on target yet, or not as far as the last time we looked.
I want to go back here. The first time Hazard gets the ball after we've changed the stat, passes it into Drogba. It was literally the first thing he did was give the ball to Drogba after we'd told him to pass to target man. So it shows that these things do happen. Oh no, it hasn't even took effect.
Is it not?
No, now it'll take effect. He must have heard us talking about it.
So I think
where Drogba's at.
Maybe go to a team talk. Maybe I'd give them a shout at the side to push forward, get that killer third goal. I know Jose Mourinho's a fan of sitting on the 1-0, 2-0, but me, 3 goals kills it.
Oh, poor touch from Ivanovic. Would we go attacking now then?
Possibly. I mean, you don't have to overdo it, but I don't know. We've told them to push forward in the team talk anyway, or the shout from the side, so they already know to push forward.
Yeah. See, Matic is coming. See, Matic keeps wandering forward, so this would tell me straight away to
this position has changed on the heat map.
I want to check the formations. Okay, so they're still playing the formation, because my first thought was that this Borger guy is dropped deeper, which then means Matic starts to look like he's getting forward a lot more. But no, it's still in the same position, which is strange. But again, another set piece. Again, cleared. So this is where you would actually probably start to make notes. If you have a little notebook, which is always a good idea, or just open Notepad on your computer. When you're watching this and you keep seeing the set pieces not working correctly, as Chris said, pass it shorter corners, shorter set pieces. I actually started in my second season doing short free kicks, and I scored 7 from indirect because he was passing it short, then crossing it in. And I found that worked quite well, James.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking down the side here. Jake says 2-0 against your 21s. You want 3, 4, or 5 possibly, and that is why we're attacking against this caliber of opposition, which is a couple of decent players, but not the best.
But
we really want to be score more? I do anyway. I want to score more.
See, this is where we're different.
Yes, because some guys like to sit on that 2-0, and as long as they hold out that 2-0, where I'm If you've got 3, you've killed it. 2, anything can happen. And I can give you an example of a game that I played earlier where I was 2-0 down, then I went 4-2 up, and because I was low down the leagues, I tried to hold it out, the 4-2 late on. But when I'm playing as a team like Chelsea, I want that extra goal.
See, what I would say is, Jake says 2-0 against you under 21s, you should be getting more. And there's 2 ways to look at this, Jake. Is the first side is to say, right, I'm just going to pause actually as they on the attack. The first thing I would say is, okay, we were only winning 2-0, James. So straight away you look and go, right, Isaiah Brown, does he deserve to come up to the first team now? Because he seems to be playing really well against our defence.
Yeah, is that a 7? What's that?
7.1.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty decent against the first team.
Then you've got this Jeremiah Borger, who has been marked by Matic and has still received the ball 31 times and got 22 completed passes. You have a centre-back, Andreas Christensen, who is up against, who has been up against Costa and then Drogba. He's made 6 tackles and won 5 of them. He's had 9 aerial duels and won 6 of them. 19 interceptions. So instead of saying, oh, I've only won 2-0 or I'm only winning 2-0, have a look to see why you're only winning 2-0. A couple of these players might have just bought their way into your first team.
Yeah, I mean, that is a spot-on tip there, actually. Check your under-21s and see how they're getting on. And I have to say, I'm occasionally guilty of not really looking to see how they're getting on because I'm more focusing on what I'm doing in the first team. But you've just gave me a hint and a tip there that I'm going to follow now. Really take a closer look at how the under-21s and 18s, if you like, are getting on. Don't just look to see how many games, their average rating, and how many goals they've scored.
I think as well, if you looked at 5 shots, none on target for the under-21s, yet Isaiah Brown has a 7.1 average. So that guy is doing something well.
A lot of running.
39% possession, yet that guy marked by Matic has had 22 completed passes in this game. Them 2 players specifically deserve a chance in the first team because we've had 25 shots to their 5, 60% possession to their 40, yet them guys are averaging over 70, including the centre-back. Averaging over 7, including their centre-back. So them guys deserve a chance, James.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, against the calibre of opposition they're actually playing against, to pull out performances like that is very, very good. And it's even worth putting them in your first team, but making them available for the 21s.
Definitely.
As well. Even for 20 minutes, I believe you can do it. I'm not sure you were able to do that before, 20 minutes. It used to be 30, 45, 60 or 90, but now you can do 20 as well, I believe.
I know I normally have most of my Egerton team at the minute is available to play for my under-19s and my reserve team. It's just something you should always do. And like I said, don't look at it that you're only winning 2-0. Look at it that the people you're playing against are basically impressing you extremely well. Chris said Paul would happily take a 1-0. A win is a win at the end of the day. See, Jamie's come on and said needs suggestion for his low league. And like we said, next week we're definitely going to do a low league one because it'll just be interesting to show, especially because that's in my element. As Chris says, I'm happy for a 1-0. I will always have a very defensive formation. Not at the minute on my online save, but normally I would have a very defensive and very solid formation. I mean, my record for conceding, I think on my latest video, I think I'd conceded like 12 in 24 games. I mean, it's a record to be proud of. I don't mind Chris taking the piss that I'm defensive. Right, that was the final heat map, James.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, the striker does seem very deep for me.
I think
I'm assuming, is this the way Drogba finished? I take it.
Drogba is the white, number 11.
Oh yeah, right. Okay. So, but that's still quite deep, I think.
See, I would think more because they're all passing it short and they're getting quite close to each other. It's quite a nice little compact team. I mean, we played for the first game as well because you would hope that by the end of pre-season if you played the exact same team against the exact same team, you would hope you got a lot more possession, a lot more shots, and you'd score a couple of more.
I just think, what if you're quite happy with this, why did we question why Costa was coming so deep?
We always question it. I want him to link up, and I want him to be available for that short pass, but I don't want him dropping to where Hazard is, and that's what he seemed to be doing. He seemed to think he had to run past Oscar at the time. He had to then run towards Fabregas as if like they'd had an agreement he would give him the ball. And I would prefer him just to kind of go to this deep position here, then stand there and wait for the ball, not keep running back.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie has also posted another question on the side. It's a chance for a cheeky plug for you, and I'm sure Chris will be happy with that plug as well. Any news on a charity Twitch stream for Torrevieja?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to get my computer sorted. Basically, I've had some major issues with the streaming stuff. It's for some reason it just keeps freezing over and over again, and I have no idea why. So once I get sorted, I am considering buying myself a desktop PC, hopefully at the end of this month. So at some point we will have some news. But yeah, I think that's about it, James, for this this one. I mean, you can only do so much in one game, can't you, James? I mean, this isn't saying, right, we've got our tactics sorted. Let's hit the first game of the season. There's a lot to do.
Yeah. Can we just go to the stats for the players where we can see key passes again?
There we go.
See, like
Fabregas didn't get a single one more, by the way.
Which tells me, were we right to drop him back?
I would say no.
Right, so that's something really we've both learned, isn't it?
So even though his average position looked a lot better, he was nowhere near as influential.
No, he didn't. It wasn't as effective as he was in the first half. And bear in mind, it was his two direct unlockable passes that created the goals, really. So this is only one game, as you say. I mean, we'll get a better idea after 4 or 5 games, you would. But that tells me he's the one providing the goals.
If you look at also, Oscar played 48 minutes in the attack midfield in the centre. He got no key passes. Now, when we moved Will.i.am into the middle, he had 1 key pass. He ended the game on 7 key passes. So Will.i.am was a lot more effective in the attack midfield role than Oscar was in that game.
I think the key player was really Hazard. We focused on him quite a bit as well as Costa. So how did they get on?
Hazard had 2 key passes more once we changed his role back to the attack and playmaker near the end.
So who stood out as the overall match ratings? Who stood out really?
So for the best player on the pitch was Azpilicueta.
Is that an 8.3?
That's an 8.3 with.
I think. And what did Ivanovic get? It's good to compare them.
He got a 7.1.
You see, they were both quite similar, and they were the same in the roles and both really far forward. So, were there that big differences in their?
It was more. Judging by this, I would say it was more that they focused the ball at Azpilicueta because he had 14 tackles, he won 14. Ivanovic only had 11 and he won 8. And also you have the aerial duel. He had Azpilicueta had 4, he won 2 of them, where Ivanovic only had the 1. So it seems like the opposition were focusing, trying to beat Azpilicueta, but it turned out in giving Azpilicueta a man of the match performance.
And finally, Matic, did he do his job?
Matic, 39 passes, 29 completed, but I assume the one we want to look at is tackles, 11, and he won 9 of them.
That's you'd be pleased with that.
9 aerial, 6 won. 5 interceptions, so he stepped up and won the ball a couple of times. What I would say is Cahill had more of everything than John Terry. So what I would say is Cahill was, because he was coming forward with the ball, he was in the position to win the tackles, win the aerials, win the interceptions before John Terry.
It also tells you John Terry was doing his job by covering his space, allowing him to have more of the ball.
Also, in the 30 minutes Drogba was on the pitch, he touched the ball more than Costa. He had 24 passes, 21 completed, where Costa only had 17 and 15.
Wow.
And Drogba had 10 aerial duels and won 6 of them.
That might be down to the part where you float the crosses and then aim the crosses to the target man, giving him more of the ball.
But the crosses, I would say, didn't work because Costa had 8 and won 7, where Drogba had 10, he only won 6. So I would say that he wasn't successful enough. I would want to say Drogba getting 9 out of 10.
Yeah, for sure. It's something to work on, isn't it? But bear in mind, he's a player at the peak of, way past the peak of his career.
Yeah, that's true.
He's already been on the decline a while, so you got to also take into account the players you're using. I mean, as Chelsea manager, most games I'm bringing on Loic Remy.
Yeah. But what I would say is, that's the end of the weekly FM show. What I would say, guys, is you have seen how if me and James decided to set up a game, decided to pick a team like Chelsea, straight away, no matter who you are, if you decide to be Chelsea, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, the first instinct is to set up how they set up, which is what we did. Then we made our personal touches to it, and deciding on how we wanted specific people to play. We straight away looked at Hazard, didn't we, James? And we decided he's not really an inside forward on Football Manager because of the stats he had. He was better as a playmaker. And then we had the input from Chris, who then said to change him to get further forward, to cut inside.
And we also found out that players with fantastic passing are more effective at a support role in the deep line playmaker.
Yeah, deep line playmaker. We dropped him to defensive. He just didn't get on the ball as much. Even though his positional play was better, he was nowhere near as creative.
I mean, this is what it's all about. Bringing your knowledge and my knowledge together to put into one team. A team that, of course, we expected to win, but on another day, we could take this, again with Chelsea against better opposition, or right down the leagues in a proper competitive league match and see the difference between a league match and a friendly.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see it if we were under pressure, so we had to move actual players' positions around and stuff and see what happens. But I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Definitely thank you for myself, and no doubt James has happily done this show.
Yeah, this has been really, really enjoyable. Thank you.
Yep, fantastic, guys. Thank you for listening. Everyone who tunes in, everyone who watches back on YouTube, really appreciate it. And we will see you on Monday night for the Monday night show.
All right.